Knits podcast. Today is Monday, May 26th. It's Memorial Day here in the US, and I hope that everyone is enjoying the day with the extra long weekend that we had. My name is Elizabeth. This is episode 6. I am coming to you from Georgetown, Texas. I'm actually outside on my patio, so hopefully the sound is okay. We had a rainstorm this morning and cooled things down, so I'm taking advantage of being able to sit out here before it heats up this afternoon. So this is going to be primarily knitting podcast. I do have a couple extra things to share with you. I have a couple of finished objects and a couple new things on my needles, and then a quilt that I wanted to share with you as well. So hopefully grab a cool drink if it's hot where you are, or a warm drink if it's cold where you are, and let's get ready to go. Let's talk about what I'm wearing. So this is a sweater that I knit 2 years ago called the Dingley Dell by Isabell Kramer. I knit this in Purl Soho linen quill in the colors red poppy, peony pink, and clover green. And it's a top-down construction with a V-neck, really nice pattern. I got a really good shoulder fit in this sweater. The only issue I have is the V was a little bit low, and I actually did more ribbing along here. I don't like a really low V, but nothing wrong with the pattern, that's just my preference. But anyway, so I knit this in the Purl Soho linen quill, which is 50% wool and 35% alpaca, and then 15% linen. And it's a really nice yarn, and I actually don't find it too hot here in Texas, even in the warmer weather, because of the linen content in it, and it gives you a really nice drapey fabric. So I knit it using a US 4 for the main body and a US 3 for the ribbing. And I just made up my own striping sequence. So a little bit different than what was in the pattern. You can see I added stripes in the ribbing up here. And then on the bind off edge, I added two little stripes of accent color. And I think it's really cute. I like to wear it with white pants or jeans or shorts in the summer, spring and summer. So I get a lot of wear out of it. And then my mother, Nancy, liked it so much that she asked me to make one for her, which my friend Sasha over here is wearing. And this one is done also in Purl Soho linen quill in the colors rhubarb pink, dark denim, and pale mushroom. And I did similar striping sequence on the neckband for my mom. This one I made was a size 3, which, like I said, I just thought it was just a touch big on me. So when I made one for my mom, I went down to a size 2, and that actually fits me a little bit better, and it fits her really nicely as well. So, but we can wear either one. So, but it's a really great pattern. I think it came out in 2021, but I knit it in 2023. So, and I used, I think I said US 4 and US 3. The gauge was 24 stitches and 34 rows per 4 inches. So good pattern. I'll probably make another one. I'd like to do one maybe in a black and taupe. I think would be pretty for fall. So that's what we're wearing. Okay, let's get started with finished objects, which I have 2 of. So the first one I have is my wide rib wrap by Purl Soho, which I've talked about before. It was knit in Purl Soho good wool in the color barn door, combined with Purl Soho tussock, which is the mohair silk in the colorway pink pop. And it made this beautiful marled fabric. I used 3 full skeins of the good wool and 3 and a partial skein of the tussock silk mohair. And it's quite a long wrap. I steamed blocked it instead of wet blocking it because it's quite lengthy and I didn't want it to stretch out too much, so I just stretched it out and pinned it. I actually showed the process. It took another video of the process of my blocking, and I will insert that probably at this point so that you can see what I did there to kind of relax it and keep it. It is ribbed, so it's going to shrink up on itself a little bit, but the blocking process just made it relax. And so when I wrap it around me, it covers me a little bit more width-wise. So I knit this on a US 9, which is a 5.5 millimeter, and I'm trying to think what else. I knit it to pretty much to gauge. I don't even recall what the gauge was on it, but it's just a wrap, so it really doesn't matter. It's not size specific. So But anyway, pretty happy with that. Glad to be finished with it. It was a very relaxing and enjoyable knit. So I recommend the pattern, easy to follow, and it's free. I'm going to show a little video of how I blocked my wide rib wrap by Purl Soho, and I just wanted to briefly talk about two of the tools that I used. So I have the Knitter's Pride knit blockers, which come in this little box. What they are is a series of combs. So you can see they're spiked combs, and they come in like this full size, and then smaller ones, they're like half combs. And what you do is you use them to basically pin out your knitting. So you'll see that in the video what I did with them. I use them in conjunction with, because the wide rib wrap is a straight edge wrap, I use them in conjunction with some Knit Picks blocking wires that are stainless steel wires. I think they're like 3 feet long, and you get a whole set of them. So I used 6 of them to block out my piece, and what I did is I wove the wire through the edge, because on that pattern you actually are slipping a stitch, so it gives you a little bit of an edging on each side. And I kind of wove this through carefully in sections, and then I blocked it out using, pinned it out to the shape using the pins on the wires. So you'll be able to see that in the video, but I did want to talk about those two tools. These are two things that I find really helpful in my blocking of all different items, so I thought I would share those. The next project that I knit was took part in the Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits, her Harlow flip pattern, which she released just this week. And she always does a challenge over Memorial Day weekend, which I took part in. And I finished this up actually this morning. So this is my Harlow flip. And it's two-sided, this flip. And I knit this in Junction. The green is the Making Tracks DK from Junction Fiber Mill, and it is in the color Summer Shade, and it is 100% wool in a DK, 210 yards per 100 grams. And then my contrast, which is this kind of beigey gray, is from Savage Heart Farm, and that's a DK base in the color Morning Gray, which is 274 yards per 112 grams. So because it's reversible, you can wear it either side out. I actually really love the green, and then you can flip the brim up. So I put it on, but it's going to be much too warm here. So that's the green side. That's my main color, what I called my main color. And it's done in brioche. You could do a twisted German cast on or the tubular cast on. I didn't do the 2-color tubular cast on because I find it too fiddly. And so I just did a German twisted cast on, and it turned out really well for me. I did it in my main color, so you can see that more the green edge there. But anyway, very fun knit. Knit up really quickly. I did it in 2 days. So for the challenge, and like I said, just finished it this morning. She gave some good prizes as part of the challenge if you finish. So not that I care that I win a prize, but I just liked the challenge of finishing something. So, and those are my finished objects. Okay, let's talk about what's on my needles. If you recall last podcast, if you happen to watch it, I had purchased this new yarn called Amble from the Fiber Co. in the color Daffodil. And I had gotten it on sale from the McKinney Knittery up in Dallas or Plano, Texas. So I was supposed to be working on my bird tracks, I think it's called, socks, the brown ones that I showed on the last couple of podcasts, but I just couldn't resist, and I ended up casting on the Hibernal socks from Summerly Knits, which I talked a little bit about last week. And so I cast those on, and I actually finished one. And this pattern is very, very addictive. It's a mock cable pattern with some ribbing in between. Super addictive because you just want to get to it's a 4-stitch repeat for the mock cable, and you just want to keep getting to the next one. So kind of similar to self-striping yarn, that kind of addiction where you're saying just get to the next color. Now you just want to get to the next cable, and then pretty soon you're like, oh, I think it's long enough. I'll just turn the heel, or I'll just do the heel flap. Then I'll just turn the heel, which is what I did pretty soon. I think I did the sock in a day and a half, so, or 2 days, something like that. And then I have the second one cast on, and I'm finished with the leg. I'm just getting ready to start the heel flap. So they are knit cuff down with a 2 inches of ribbing, and then a heel flap with a slip stitch, and then the gusset, and just a regular toe. So I really like this yarn. It's got alpaca in it, so it's really squishy, and it'll be warm in the winter, and with that alpaca content. And they just have a really nice feel, and it's just so nice to knit with. I really highly recommend this yarn. So yeah, that's my Hibernal socks. I'm sorry. And then I also talked about last episode that a new pattern had released called Flower Child, and I was really excited to get that cast on. And so I did not have good willpower, and I ended up casting it on. Instead of working on my rose cardigan, I ended up casting on this new sweater. And I mistakenly said the Flower Child pattern was by Pip Pin, and it's actually by Wool and Pine. I don't know what I was thinking. They both have very similar aesthetics to me, and both write very good patterns, so I guess that's what I was thinking. Anyhow, I went ahead and cast on using Suburban Stitcher sock in the colorway Jane, and this is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon with 460 yards per 100 grams. And it's this really pretty shade of like rosy pink, almost like a little bit of a purplish hue to it, so or mauve hue to it. You can see that. So here's the full skein. I guess that's easier to see. So I cast on, it's with a, what size needle is that? I used a US 3 for the neck portion where you're doing a picot edge, and then switched to a US 4, which is 3.5 millimeters. The gauge on it is 36 stitches, 26 stitches and 32 rows per 4 inches. So you start from the top down, and you do a picot edge basically, and then a fold over collar with that picot edge, highlighting that. I'm a little worried because it's having a tendency to curl, so I'm hoping when it blocks that it'll stay up better. But I'm just starting to work through the yoke. I think I'm about 1/3 of the way done with the lace. You do knit some short rows. So here's the back. You can see this section is obviously much wider, or deeper, I should say, than this section, which is the front. So you knit, like I said, the picot, fold over collar, then you knit short rows, then you start on the lace yoke section. And like I said, I'm about 1/3 of the way done with the lace yoke. So excited to continue working that. Probably spend some time this afternoon with it. So And I got these cute new stitch stoppers, these cute cowboy boots with the gold. I think they're really cute. So those are in my shop, Cozy Sky Co. on Etsy. So that's pretty much what's on my needles. I haven't really worked on any of my other projects. I said finish those 2 objects that I showed, and then these are the new things. I haven't worked on my rose cardigan at all, and I haven't worked on my other socks, but those will be getting back in my hands very shortly. I'm also going to show you a little bit of dream knitting and acquisitions. The two are tied together. So I saw a pattern that released recently called the Blanket the Town by Margaret Holzmann, and it is a blanket that is done in DK weight yarn. The sample was knit in Rowan felted tweed, and it is done on a 20 stitch and 40 row gauge per 4 inches on a US 4 or 3.5 millimeters. The construction is done in sections, which are then sewn together, and then they're done, those sections are sewn together and you get a row, and then the rows are sewn together. So it's done primarily in garter stitch and then in tarja for some of the color work. And then afterwards, you also do some embroidery for the fine details. It just looked really exciting to me. I don't know if that was the color combination, the design of it, but it literally made me stop and just catch my breath. It was so beautiful. And I showed it to my mom and she said, oh my goodness, she absolutely loved it too. And so I bought the kit and it's a lot of yarn. I think it was like 33 skeins of yarn of the Rowan felted tweed. So it's an investment. It's going to be an heirloom piece for our home, which we're looking forward to having. I'm sure it's going to take me quite some time to knit. It's going to be a very, very slow project, but hopefully I can take you along the journey of knitting it with me. And I don't know, who knows, it may take a year, it may take 2 years. I'm not putting any pressure on myself, but hopefully I can knit just a building at a time. And that's what you do. You knit different buildings. I'll put a picture, have put a picture up here too, so you can see the design, but you knit the different buildings and carports and trees and fences and clouds, and you literally are knitting a little city or a town. So it's quite cute. I did go ahead and just, rather than trying to pick out all those colors, I went ahead and bought the kit from, like I said, from Jimmy Bean's Wool. And this is a sampling of some of the colors. And the Rowan felted tweed are 50-gram balls, and it is 50% wool, 35% alpaca, and 25% viscose. So it's just a whole plethora of colors. And I think that's what I liked about the blanket the most. In addition to just the cute houses and things, I loved all of the colors. I think they're just beautiful. And I don't know, I didn't want to have to pick out all those colors in another yarn. So I just went ahead and made the investment in this. And like I said, it's definitely a treat. It's going to be an heirloom piece for my home. And so I was happy to make that investment in it. And I look forward to getting it started. One other funny story I wanted to share with you. I think I mentioned in the last episode that I was going to Dallas for a business trip, which I did. And I had a colleague of mine from the UK who had come over, and I was escorting him to 2 of our distributors and doing a tour of their warehouse and that. So I was just going overnight, not a big deal. So I just took 1 pair of shoes, which are very comfortable. And we did, had the first meeting, was a couple-hour meeting, and then we walked through their warehouse, and we probably walked a good 1.5 miles because it's very large, and then dropped him off at his hotel, and I had a quick minute to just kind of catch my breath and check some emails, and then I was supposed to pick them up for dinner. So I was using the restroom, and I looked down at the floor, and there was stuff all over the floor. And I was like, what the heck is all that dirt on my floor? And then I looked down again, and it was actually my shoes. So I had worn these shoes, which are only a couple years old, and the whole sole, it's a cork footbed. These are by Papilio, which is a Birkenstock company, and the whole sole split apart. So this was the only pair of shoes I had. I knew, and they weren't this far apart initially, but I knew that they wouldn't last the second day because we were going to walk equal distance in another warehouse the following day, if not further, because it was even a larger warehouse. So I had to take this guy after dinner shopping to get new shoes. It was a little bit embarrassing. I'm like, sorry, but I have to get some shoes because I'm not going to make it. But the only shoes I could find were at TJ Maxx because it was like 8:30 at night. So I found some Skechers tennis shoes, black, because I had black pants. I'm like, that was the best thing I could find other than sandals because they had to be closed-toed as well. So I had those on and it didn't look too bad. But the next day when I picked him up, he actually had his tennis shoes, or trainers as he called them, on too, because he said, as long as you're wearing your trainers, I'm going to wear mine. So I thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, he got a good laugh out of it, and I did as well. And it was slightly embarrassing, but you know, what are you going to do? I guess the lesson learned is to always take an extra pair of shoes. So I just thought I'd share it and give you guys a good laugh at that as well. Since it's Memorial Day, I wanted to share with you a quilt that's very special to me. This quilt was made by a group of my friends from San Antonio who I met when I first moved to Texas from Michigan, so a lot of years ago, and we've become really good friends, and I love all of them dearly. And when my father got sick last year, they made this beautiful quilt out of Americana flags, red, white, and blue, because my dad was a true patriot. So it was one of the last things that he had that brought him joy. And you can see they did this beautiful, Deb did this beautiful label for my dad. And they lined it in a minky fabric, so it was really soft to him. So when he was very sick at the end, he had this to comfort him, and it brought him, like I said, a lot of joy. So because it's Memorial Day, I just wanted to share this. I also shot some footage of a beautiful area in our subdivision that is to honor all of those who have lost their lives, giving us the freedoms that we have. When I was there, I just wanted to share this story too. When I was there, I met a woman who was actually looking for the brick that she had purchased for her husband on the walkway and that she had never seen before. So I helped her find it and kind of got a little bit about her story. And her husband had served in Vietnam and actually was blown off of a deck of a ship. There was a malfunction in some of the artillery that they were using, and he was blown down like 13 floors or something, and was exposed to Agent Orange and suffered quite a bit the rest of his life for that. And he actually just passed away a month ago. So I was there helping her find the brick, which was really nice, and to hear about his story. And I'd like to think that I brought her a little bit of comfort. She was happy that she found it, and you know, I asked her if I could share the story, and she said that I definitely could. So I'm happy to do that. And I just ask that everyone, if you're in the U.S., that you take a moment and make sure that you remember that we have our freedoms because of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice. So. Okay, well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully you got to work on a project while you were listening to me ramble. Hopefully maybe I inspired you with some of my knits and gave you a good laugh with some of my stories. So anyway, I just want to say, if you enjoyed this, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, and I'd love to know what you're working on, and if any of you joined in on the Andrea Mowry challenge for the Harlow flip, let me know that. I'm curious to see how many people did participate in that. And I enjoy reading all the comments that you left in my previous episodes, and I try to respond to all of them. And it just really warms my heart when I see people engaging with me. So I appreciate that, and I want you to know that I'm really grateful for your support. And I did get over 1,200 subscribers, which was really made me so happy as well. So thank you so much. If you're not subscribed and you'd like to see future episodes, please make sure to subscribe and to hit the bell so that you'll get notifications when I do come out with a new episode. Try to get one out every 2 weeks. So with that, I will wish you a good afternoon, and I hope that you've all enjoyed your weekend, your long weekend here in the States, if that's where you are, and that you're finding joy in your making. I ask you to live with kindness and compassion, and to stay safe and happy making. Thank you.